you could come out tonight.
Yes.
I have to tell you, this is like just so nourishing for me right now, because as I look around, what I see are friends. These are the people that I have been working with, not just these last 4 years, but ever since just the dawn of time, it feels like. And so it just feels like we're in a room with family. And I hope you feel that same way.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's really what tonight is about. Tonight is about celebrating all of the hard work that we've done, that we have shared, the good, the bad, but to look back and reflect on just how much we've accomplished. Because I'm not sure that we do that enough. Now I want to know, does everybody hear me okay? All right, the regular sound system wasn't working, so I brought my little jam here. You guys recognize that. Okay. So tonight, I'm going to read a special proclamation honoring local activists, that's you, and organizations who have really been behind the scenes and sometimes in front of the podium, a lot of times in the back of the room with signs, right? Just really making it happen every single day. I think one of the hardest things, and this is where I ask for forgiveness, is just trying to figure out exactly and precisely which organizations to honor and recognize, because so many people have done so many things, and you just can't get it all done. And I think what that speaks to is the need for us to do this more often. Really, the need for us to honor and acknowledge everyone's contribution. And sometimes that's not always easy. Sometimes, even if we're on opposite sides of an issue, what we have to remember is that acknowledging someone's contribution doesn't diminish us. It doesn't diminish us. In fact, it makes us better people. Y'all can clap for that. Liked what someone said the other night in the last council meeting. They got to talk about it, and they said, you know, talking about the fact that they've actually been on the opposite side with me, that they've kind of said some things, maybe on social media, they put stuff out there that wasn't always flattering, but that's okay, because that's what engaged citizens do. We address our leaders in a way that's respectful, but not always flattering, because we have to have the courage to press the issues. And that's not a bad thing. That's what I think they call democracy. Am I right? Yes. That's what democracy looks like. That's what I'm talking about. So, you know, as we stand as leaders, we understand that we stand on the shoulders and arm in arm, really, with the people that we serve. And so, again, that's what tonight is about. So many of you tonight will be honored. When I mention your organization or your name, I'd like for you to come on up. And I know you guys know how this is done. I'm going to actually ask for someone to help me pass these out. And I know there's a ton of people out there willing to do that, because that's what y'all do. But if I could get somebody to help but stand here and just pass those things out, and I can continue to read the proclamation. Thank you. I appreciate you. See all these active citizens? So I'm going to read through. It's a pretty long proclamation. The folks honored tonight, as I said, worked directly with the Community Relations Committee, most specifically on issues of housing, on education, and on peace building. And so that's kind of how we narrowed the focus. We also have some particular individuals who actually, I just had to say something, because these folks, and you'll hear their names tonight, came to every single council meeting. Yeah. Every single, they've been doing it for years. And it takes a really special person to do that. Many of them have better attendance, council attendance, than maybe some of our council members, myself maybe included. So we just want to honor and thank them. So without further ado, actually, I do want to say one more thing. Like I said, there are people here tonight that I were not listed on the proclamation. And I see them, and I want to see you now. There's Charles Smith, who works on issues of animal welfare. Thank you, Charles, for all of your hard work. I thought I saw Sue Kessam. I don't know, but I thought I saw her, and she's one of those folks that really, I think, challenged us, especially around issues of fiscal responsibility, and that's so important. I learned so much from her, making sure that we were doing our job. Peggy Appleby, I just want to really appreciate her with her advocacy around education and making sure kids get what they need. She's a social worker at South Bend School. Oh, look, you can hear me better when I do that, can't you? And she also organized that wonderful Black Voters Matter event this past summer. Someone also I want to recognize, and I'm so glad she's here, is Karima Fowler. You guys you have no idea. Like, honestly, when you get behind the curtain, all of the hoops you have to jump through, all the things, and she just made it so easy to make sure that you guys were getting the service that you need. And so that's what I'm talking about. The people behind the scenes, you don't really understand how much work is being done and how things are getting, the buttons are being pressed to make sure that things are equal and fair. And that's what I have to say about Karima, that I respect her so much. Even, no matter what the politics were of the situation, she made sure that every council person got a fair shake and an equal opportunity to express their ideas and our needs. So I really want to thank her for that. She made my life. Claire Ross, homelessness, everybody knows. And the funny thing is, a lot of people do work in a lot of different areas, right? And so I know that Des Harris is going to stand up when we talk about education, and he's going to stand up when we talk about peace building. But Moms Demand Action, that's kind of the organization, this flagship organization, and he absolutely deserves so much appreciation and credit for the work that he's done in there. Okay, so on to the proclamation. Please, when you hear your organization, make your way up. I'll continue to read, but we want to give an opportunity to have an opportunity to see you, recognize you. People can take pictures, but we are going to kind of move through quickly. So rather than having an opportunity to speak at that time, we're going to hold it all for the end, okay? All right. It's long, y'all. You see this? Yeah, we've done a lot of work. That's what that means. Okay. Proclamation number 0919. A proclamation honoring local activists for their contributions to the South Bend community in the areas of housing, education, and peace building. Whereas the purpose of municipal government is to work for the good of the people. Cities are made up of citizens whose role it is to push elected officials to live up to the vision of our American democracy, of the people, by the people, and for the people. Whereas in 2011, Newsweek designated South Bend as a dying city, and Harvard University scholars rated South Bend as the third unhappiest city in America. Y'all remember that? I remember that. Today, we enjoy national reviews that exclaim South Bend is teeming with palpable energy, optimism, and new momentum. Governing Magazine identified South Bend, listen to this, as a high-performing, race-conscious city. That's y'all. This transformation didn't happen by accident. And whereas change doesn't happen overnight, we also know that the transformation of this community cannot be attributed to one person or a singular event. It is the perseverance of our uniquely diverse and outspoken activist community sounding the drumbeat for justice that has, together with our local officials and city administration, moved us to this tipping point and shifted our trajectory towards justice. And whereas regular people, citizens of South Bend, have been organizing, educating, and agitating since our city began. But since Mayor Pete Buttigieg signed the executive order in January of 2016 and codified our values of diversity and inclusion, there has been a concentrated effort these last 4 years to ensure these commitments are not just words on paper. Community-led initiatives convened educational forums, organized strategic meetings with city administration, and transformed public spaces from the council chambers to Hunt Plaza into platforms for marches, rallies, protests, and die-ins. And whereas it may seem that nothing changes, if we take a look back at all we have accomplished, this unprecedented level of engagement with local government has indeed resulted in progress. Tangible change that people can see, touch, and feel. Many organizations and individuals have had a hand in moving these changes forward, partnering in strategic efforts to effect change in housing, education, and peace building, including a community survey for grassroots engagement, gathering real-time data on issues from housing to health, a racial wealth divide report, providing a baseline to better understand the problem by the numbers, a disparity study that will allow us to set benchmarks for progress, the creation of the Division of Engagement and Economic Empowerment in the Department of Community Investment to bring about structural change for the pursuit of systemic equity, an unprecedented investment in the neighborhoods, including to date $6 million for home repair and new construction for affordable housing in West Side neighborhoods. Let's get a clap to that. Now, I'm going to read different organizations, and you can come up now, but I also will read names of some of those specific individuals later. So if you'd like to come up now, you can do that. Or stand where you are. This is all about inclusion, right? So all about abilities as well. Whereas the Community Forum for Economic Justice, if you're here, please stand and or come forward. Often referred to as the conscience of local government, works on issues of economic development, housing, education, health, and human rights through education, advocacy, and service. Monthly public forums engage a cross-section of community stakeholders in dialogue on critical social issues to ensure the equitable use of city resources. From meeting the need to affordable housing to breaking the school-to-prison pipeline, the community forum's work has served to change the conversation, empower new organizations, and help local leaders create people-centered policy. Let's give them a round of applause. And y'all are being shy because there's a whole lot of community forum, whether you're board members or members, please stand. I see you out there. Don't make me call on you. I will. Oh, Lisa over there clapping. Yes. Whereas the Far Northwest Neighborhood Association became a local leader on issues of housing using the power of personal narratives by telling the story of how the families of Better Homes of South Bend broke through discriminatory redlining practices to pioneer their neighborhood. They demonstrated the importance of preserving history by repairing, not just demolishing, homes in decaying neighborhoods. In collaboration with other local organizations, the association held forums on housing and development without displacement to raise awareness of the need to ensure affordable housing so legacy residents can remain in the neighborhood after redevelopment. Their work resulted in millions of dollars for new construction of affordable homes and revision of the South Bend Home Repair Program By matching local dollars with federal money, the city expanded income eligibility and increased access to resources for residents on the west side. Thank you. The Fremont Youth Foundation and New Black Power Movement. Come on up, y'all. These are young people making it happen. Fremont Youth Foundation was created by the young people of the far northwest neighborhood after they lost too many loved ones to gun violence. They transformed heartbreak into action on a mission to take back their local park from the violence and apathy that plagued their community. With a motto of peace, love, unity, education, and having fun, they worked to end violence through community engagement activities. They were instrumental in securing over $130,000 in city investment to rebuild Fremont Park, including a splash pad. They used this space to produce the annual back-to-school block party and Shakespeare in Fremont Park. Thank you for your support. Come on, Blue, you just get here? That's activist for you, right on time. Okay. The Ardmore Liberty Committee. The Ardmore Liberty Committee formed when the city revealed plans to realign the South Shore Railroad through Ardmore neighborhood. Plans called for the demolition of 40 homes and the relocation of existing families that lived in the neighborhood for generations. Residents organized and descended upon the county city building in a sea of orange t-shirts, determined to save their homes. Their advocacy convinced the city to do a deeper analysis of the economic impact of alternate routes for the South Shore and helped us better understand that decisions made in the city have critical impact on residents in the county. Today, county residents of the Ardmore neighborhood reach across the arbitrary lines that divide us and fight for development without displacement side by side with other organizations both in the county and within city limits. Thank you, Ardmore Liberty Community. And whereas Stacy Odom, when she saw a sketch of her neighborhood in the West Side Main Streets plan, she saw soccer fields where her family's home should have been. Her family has lived on the lake for nearly 100 years. This set her on a mission to ensure legacy families like hers could stay in their homes throughout revitalization. Although she had barely used a hammer, she organized volunteers and started doing home repairs for her neighbors. Under the guidance of a licensed and bonded union contractor, they learned skills to make basic home repairs and help their neighbors for free. When representatives of the city learned about the work she was doing, they hired her to implement the program citywide. And in 2018, y'all hear about Love Your Block? Yes. That's from Stacy. Love Your Block home repair program rolled out in neighborhoods across the city. Stacy went on to establish a community development corporation, Odom Community Developers, and today she's creating affordable homes through rehab and new construction all over the West Side. And her work has only just begun. Someone is here to accept that. You all know Miss Odom, right? Miss Dorothy Odom, her mom, she wasn't feeling well, so Jordan came to step up to answer. And that woman, I tell you, if she alone doesn't cause you to fight to save your home, I don't know what does. She's amazing. Whereas Odom Community Developers, Kennedy Park Neighborhood Association, and Swalesville Community Development Corporation are organizations formed by everyday citizens stepping up to engage in the work of community-driven development. As individuals, they made the time to serve on boards and committees and engage in workshops and programs offered by the city. They acquired skills and developed relationships that put them in position to participate in and benefit from redevelopment. Their projects are part of the city's Inclusive Economic Development Project that will invest in reviving the historic Black Business District on Linden Avenue, support new retail and residential development along the Lincoln Way West Corridor, and build and rehab homes for affordable living on the city's west side. Thank you, Consuela Hopkins, with Swalesville. And Mr. Hopkins, by the way, who's helping us. So look forward to within the next few years, we're going to have some beautiful new retail and residential businesses all up and down Lincoln Way, and that's thanks to Swalesville. Where's Kennedy Park? Someone from Kennedy Park is here. I know they are. Well, we'll get that to them. I saw somebody out there. And whereas Indivisible Indiana District 2 and Black Lives Matter mobilize people and leverage political power to bring about institutional change in schools and city government. They convene public forums on housing to demand investment in neglected neighborhoods. They challenge school district leadership to ensure due process for children, and they organize demonstrations, forums, and meetings with city officials to improve community policing and increase police accountability. Their work seeks to restore dignity for all people, holding steadfast in the ongoing fight for a civilian oversight committee and removing barriers to employment and public services through expungement workshops. Black Lives Matter, Indivisible, anyone here? Come on up. Thank you, you guys. I know that your work takes a lot of courage, and I just appreciate you holding the line and fighting for the most vulnerable citizens in our community. Thank you. And whereas Community Action for Education, known simply as CAFE, creates a public space for the community to discuss issues and solve problems to ensure all children have access to a high-quality education. Taking on issues such as the school-to-prison pipeline, disproportionality in special education, and due process for children, CAFE has been successful in ending the practice of ticketing students in schools, revising the school code of conduct, and increasing community representation on the school board. We have one school board member right here, Olika. Their mission, protect the public in public education. There's another CAFE member back there, come on up. All right, CAFE holding it down for the people in the schools. Let's give them a round of applause. This is one organization that y'all don't even know. I'm gonna let y'all hear what they did, and I think it's just really amazing. Whereas Michiana Peace and Justice Coalition, formed in the wake of the tragic events of September 11, 2001, with the belief that if you want peace, work for justice.
All activities are directed towards remedying social injustices of inequality, racism, poverty, war, and pollution. Members have been instrumental in bringing the community together in study circles on race and promoting the principles of restorative justice. Their commitment is a lesson in perseverance. They hold anti-war demonstrations every Monday on the corner of Jefferson and Main to promote peace and justice in South Bend, across the country, and around the world. And no matter rain, sleet, or snow, or blistering heat, for the last 18 years, they have rarely missed a day. 18 years. Y'all honk at them. And I want you to notice all the silver hair that we see there. You know, we have to remember that our seniors, our elders in this community have been fighting this fight for decades. And it's just an honor to be able to serve with them as they stay the course and continue to fight. And so this is one of the reasons I really felt the need to do this kind of acknowledgement, because we just need to recognize and acknowledge the people who've been doing this forever. Thank you so much. Everybody, we're right here. And whereas WUBS Radio. Yeah. Love ya, you hear 'em? Love ya. Okay. First went on the air 26 years ago and has been a forum for community voice on critical issues ever since. Over the last 4 years, WBS hosted meetings of the Community Relations Committee live on air. Panel discussions brought city leaders face to face with constituents to hear their concerns and set the stage for public accountability. WBS 89.7 FM radio station continues to be an independent source for the voiceless by helping them tell their stories from a perspective that otherwise may never be heard. These stories range from exposing racism, police misconduct, and the tape controversy to the need for a spiritual component in helping to resolve personal and community issues. They exist to serve and to create a central platform for people of all ages, ethnic, and social backgrounds. Reverend Williams. Can we get a love ya? 1, 2, 3. Love ya! And whereas you don't have to be an organization to make change. There are a few committed, persistent individuals, the government watchdogs, I call them, who keep eyes on the process, standing before elected officials at every council meeting, speaking at the privilege of the floor. Their consistent presence holds leaders accountable, whether it's distribution of TIF dollars, fiscal responsibility, minority contracting, community policing, or government corruption. They bear witness, record, and they right here, live stream meetings to the greater South Bend community. Using social media platforms, they create forums for public dialogue, which, although not always flattering, is important feedback for local leaders and serve as a cornerstone of a true democracy. And you guys can stand up. I'm gonna read your names specifically in a minute too. So let's give them a round of applause. And whereas It takes many hands to form an organization and many individuals to bring about change. Listed below are but a few citizen members of the Community Relations Standing Committee, founding members of local groups that have worked with the committee, and individuals who stand as a constant presence at meetings of the South Bend Common Council. The greater community of activists include not only those listed below, but working people, parents, young people, teachers, university professors, and students, everyday people who see the need and answer the call. And again, this was a hard choice figuring out how to narrow this down, but I felt like it was really important to name those names. Can you say their name?
Say their name.
Say their name, because this is going on record in the city files, and we need to know that these people were here. You were here, and you made change. So, citizen members of the Community Relation Committee: Jasmine Brown, Eli Cantu, Jordan Geiger, Alfreda Gillespie, Laquita Hughes, and Ash Veazey. Come on up, please. He's so professional to be doing this, right? Right? Nice job. Thank you, Mr. Hopkins. Let's give him a round of applause. Good job. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, y'all.
Okay.
And like I said, some of these people have been up here already. They're already involved and engaged in many organizations. The Community Forum for Economic Justice: Linda Wolfson, Marty Wolfson, Teresa Marcy, and Lula Hall. And they've been up already. Let's just give them a round of applause. The Far Northwest Neighborhood Association: again, Thelma Williams, Teresa Phillips, and Rose Wilson were founding members. Fremont Youth Foundation and New Black Power Movement: Kim Clowers, Lisa Shavers, Valerie Shavers, Blue Casey, Nosha Casey, and Andre Davis. Let's give them a round of applause. Community Action for Education, Cafe: Wilner Cusick, Olitha Jones, Veronica Smith. I was also with that group, so I'm gonna give myself a round of applause.
All right.
All right. Again, they've been up already, but let's say their names. Michiana Peace and Justice Coalition: Lois Clark, Glenda Ray Hernandez, Reynaldo Hernandez, Wanda Mangus, the late Galen Mangus, Peter Smith, and Ellen Stecker. Let's give them a round of applause. WUBS 89.7 FM radio: Reverend Sylvester Williams Jr. and Shane Williams Sr. Government watchdogs at every council meeting. I'm telling you, I don't know if you can tell, but we were shaking in our boots anytime there's a privilege of the floor. Jesse Davis and Jason Benicki, please come on up. All right, let's take them back to their seats with a round of applause. Now, therefore, be it resolved by South Bend Common Councilwoman Regina Williams Preston as follows. Section 1. Paulo Freire said it best in his timeless work, pedagogy of the oppressed. The revolution is made neither by the leaders for the people, nor by the people for the leaders, but by both acting together in unshakable solidarity. It takes all of us together, the activists who fight for equity and justice, the council who represents the people, the mayor and city administration who craft policy to serve the will of the people, and the everyday working families who provide the tax base on which it stands. South Bend Common Councilwoman Regina Williams Preston publicly offers her gratitude to local activists for their role in making South Bend a more informed, thriving, inclusive community. Section 2. Although we are proud of the work we've done, we are not satisfied. This is just the beginning, am I right? Past progress and ongoing need has inspired new organizations like Fix It Forward and Justice for South Bend. Let's give them a round of applause. Others, too many to name, to lift the voices of the most vulnerable and speaking truth to power. Councilwoman Williams Preston looks forward to the future with hope that the relationship between the city and the people who carry the torch of accountability continues to grow and deepen, moving forward with this new approach that brings everyone to the table with the commitment to see past our differences and work together for the common good and justice for all. Signed and approved this 30th day of December in the city of South Bend, County of St. Joseph, in the state of Indiana. Has a tradition that we're going to honor tonight. He takes a selfie at every single event, and this is hundreds of people. So we're going to try this out. Eli, come on up. You gotta stay where you are. Stand if you can, and he's going to try to get a selfie of all of us. Or what they call it, ussy? Ussy? Ussy. All right, let's see if we can make it happen.
Everybody, come on in. Come on in.
There we go.
All right.
Attention, please. Can we have your attention, please?
Ladies and gentlemen, if we can have your attention one more time, please.
All right,
Really quickly, before we adjourn, I would like to give a round of applause to Councilmember Regina Preston. And going out, she will absolutely be missed. She was one of the hardest working councilwomen.
To just say one thing and offer prayer.
Oh, there we go. Straight out.
If I could get a little, we'd like to not only offer prayer, but we'd like to present Miss Councilwoman Regina Williams Preston with a token of our appreciation. We ought to always give folks flowers while they're with us.
Yes.
She has not only brought people to the council, but she brought the council to the people. Special. We know that her pathway is being ordered by the Lord, and we're not through with her yet. Because she's not done with us.
That's right.
Yeah. So let us just offer prayer as she go into 2020 with new vision and new determination. Lord, we thank you for the vision that she brought here tonight to show this community that there's more leaders than we acknowledge. Tonight she has acknowledged those that have been working diligently behind the scenes. She spotted them, she highlighted them, and she acknowledged them here tonight. And it's for your glory and for her credibility. Continue to bless in a mighty way throughout this year and the rest of the year. And I'd like for somebody to say, good and plenty.
Good and plenty.
In 2020.
Thank you. All right. Good night, everybody. You've been wonderful. We have one more person, actually, who asked to say a few words. Come on up. I'm sorry, I might have dismissed y'all too early.
So this is just a note that I wanted to say. Oh yeah, so this is just something I want you guys to just take as a note for the next couple of months. Recently, I became a teacher at Jackson Middle School, and I've been trying to, work at the schools and in education from the inside. So if you don't know already, there's been news that there's a chance to vote for a $75 million increase in the budget for South Bend schools. And the administration is making a lot of changes. While this is hanging in the air, I want to remind you all, if you haven't already, I wanted to tell you all to stay diligent in holding South Bend schools accountable from the outside as well. Because stuff is changing, they will take advantage the moment that we turn our eye away. So please continue to remain diligent in coming into the schools, talking to the parents, challenging teachers, challenging schoolwork, challenging everybody you need to challenge to make sure that the schools remain eligible. And if we do get that money, make sure that the money is going where it's supposed to go, to the school, to the students. I'm from Jackson, we don't even have an after-school program. Even when I was in 8th grade, 10 years ago, we had an after-school program. The kids have nowhere to go after school. They have nowhere to go to be together and to learn more outside about life.
That's right.
So that money, if put in the right place, could be used to make South Bend schools a lot better. It's not a lot, but it's plenty. But it's plenty for our kids. That's all I wanted to know.
So, you guys already know we're activists, so we all have something to say and something to make sure that we're aware of. What I want to do is make sure that, I want to acknowledge a young man here who just came back from Indianapolis filing to run for state office. He made it here tonight. Sorry, y'all. I said I was going to, but it's not 6:30 yet. We still got 5 minutes. So, you want to say something?
I did not expect this. For the last 6 years, I've been working with a lot of the people that you see in the room, with Regina, with many people on the council, about the importance of the community that we all live in, that we all love, that we raise our children in, and that we want their children to grow up in. Today, when I filed for my candidacy, when I decided that I would run for state rep, the things that I kept in mind are our teachers, who are working 2 and 3 jobs while they try to educate Indiana's the best natural resource we have, which is our children. I decided to file today because the people who live in Indiana are working 2 and 3 jobs, and it's still not enough. I decided to run and file today because the people who are organizing and being recognized here today have only done a small piece of the work, and they need allies in office to ensure that it goes to the next level. that is not about me. It's about the people who have been recognized in this room, and about Ms. Preston as she leaves council with a legacy that is hard to fill.
That's right.
We keep our minds on the prize in 2020. It starts our new year. It is more imperative than ever to register your neighbor.
Yeah, that's right.
Have a conversation. When you decide to go to the polls, May 5th, Tuesday, bring 2 people and challenge those 2 people to bring 2 people. Our turnout in our city, in our district, is up to everybody that is here right now. And it does not matter what campaign logo, what colors, or how many doors I knock. Without you at the polls, nothing is possible.
That's right.
My candidacy is not about me. It is about the upliftment of you. And that's why we are launching Lift Every Voice as Drew myself runs for State House District 6 in 2020.
Okay, we're gonna do one more thing, and then we're gonna wrap up. Again, this is about celebrating each of us, and today is a special day. It's Blue Casey's birthday today. So can we just sing him out? Can we just sing him a happy birthday? Anybody can sing, because I can't. I'm not gonna do it on the mic, but let's do it together. All right? All right? Oh, okay.
Are we doing, which one version are we doing?
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. That's my sister, y'all. Happy birthday. Come on. Happy birthday. All right, y'all. Happy birthday.
I'll just say one thing. To everybody out there, like, I've been working with mostly everybody out here for the last 6 years. If we haven't, we'd have been on some type of meeting, some type of board, some type of celebration. I just want to say, like, I'm really proud to be part of this new wave, to be a part of this leader of the new school wave of activism and just black leadership and just leadership in the community, period. You know, and I wouldn't be out here without, you know, Regina Preston at all. Like, literally, when I linked up with Regina Preston, I was coming straight from Atlanta. I was just a little rap dude from the hood, could have been anywhere in the streets, any of that. Regina took me under her wing and made me into somebody, and I wouldn't be here without her. Just like I wouldn't be out here without plenty of my other constituents out here, you know, that was helping us with New Black Power. You know, Miss Nia still, she was holding it down, Jordan was holding it down, Lex was holding it down. You know, we actually went to war out here, and like, and we did something for the community. I meant something that it was actually impactful. So I just want to thank everybody out here for doing the work that we do for the community and for the people. Let's keep it going. You dig? 2020.